All right, shalom, family,
Shalom.
and welcome to another New Moon, New Month class. On this evening, we're going to go over to preparing for your own vine and fig tree. There's a major shift of power happening within countries on the African continent as more and more of these countries are asking the French, their once colonial rulers, to remove their military from within their countries. Most of these changes are not being broadcast on the mainstream media in the West. This may be by design, as it shows the Gentiles are slowly losing their control. While here in the U.S., many of the so-called minorities are worried about being deported. So there's also a shift going on here. So for those of us who are in our books and understand, Yahweh said that there's going to come a time where every man's going to have to return back to his own land. And basically that's what we're seeing slowly happening. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Let's start at Micah chapter 4. We're going to begin at verse 1. Micah chapter 4, and we're going to begin at verse 1.
But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountains of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it.
So it's saying in the last days, but supposedly the people are back in the land already since 1948. So I guess the last days didn't happen in 1948 then. Go ahead.
And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountains of Yahweh and to the house of the Elohim of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem.
Here's another thing that's not happening. Many nations are there, but they got their own temples and their own gods that they're worshiping in the land. Go ahead.
And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
And we definitely know there's not this happening in the land. The Palestinians probably wish this was happening in the land so they could enjoy some peace. Go ahead.
But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of Yahweh of hosts has spoken it.
So can we imagine how wonderful this is going to be able to sit under your own vine and under your own fig tree and not have to worry about anything? I mean, you think about the concerns we have here. Most of us looking at the time right now saying, hey, man, I hope this class is going to be over soon because I got to plow the mule in the morning. You know what I'm saying? But the time is coming where we'll be able to enjoy and have true peace. So as we're going through this and we can see that things are aligning, we have to start also aligning our mindset to be able to enjoy being under your own vine and fig tree. Go ahead.
For all people will walk everyone in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of Yahweh our Elohim forever and ever. In that day, said Yahweh, will I assemble her that halt, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. And I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast far off a strong nation. And Yahweh shall reign over them in Mount Zion from henceforth, even forever.
So we've talked about the children of Israel being the bride of Yahweh. In that one sentence, you realize he kept saying her, but he's referring to the nation of Israel as a whole. That's his wife. Go ahead.
And you, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, and unto you shall it come, even the first dominion, the kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Now why does you cry out aloud? Is there no king in you? Is your counselor perished? For pangs have taken you as a woman in travail. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shall you go forth out of the city, and you shall dwell in the field, and you shall go even to Babylon. There shall you be delivered. There Yahweh shall redeem you from the hand of your enemies. Now also many nations are gathered against you that say, let her be defiled, and let our eyes look upon Zion. But they know not the thoughts of Yahweh, neither understand they his counsel. For he shall gather them as the sheaves into the floor.
And this has been the constant thing. Now also many nations are gathered against you. This has always been our plight. We always have everyone against us that say, let her be defiled, and let our eye look upon Zion. And how did they defile us? By giving us these false gods to worship. Even the clothing that we wear defiles us. So the thought process is going to have to change as we're now preparing to be in our own land and under our own vine and under our own fig tree, which is going to be the thing for all nations. Every man's going to be able to enjoy this. Go ahead.
Arise and thresh. Excuse me. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hoofs brass, and you shall beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto Yahweh, and their substance unto the Adonai of the whole earth.
But even to enjoy this, you see he says, arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion. That means we're going to have to work to get back in the kingdom. We're going to have to put up resistance. It's not just going to be given to you. So mindsets are going to have to shift from where we were beaten down and trodden down right now. We're going to have to shift our mindset to realize in order to get this back, we're going to have to put forth some serious work. My brother, can you read what's on that next slide for me, please? Or I'll start that one. Fact box. Ouster from Africa. What is left of France's military presence on the continent? Several African nations have expelled French troops, signaling a significant decline in the former colonial power's influence on the continent. And this was on 10/01/2025 is when this is going to be updated, right? Go ahead and start on the next slide for me, please.
Over the past few years, France and its military forces have been steadily pushed out from several African nations, signaling a significant decline in the former colonial power's influence on the continent. The termination of key defense cooperation agreements by African nations has pushed France's military presence, historically rooted in its brutal colonial past, to an all-time low. As of now, French troops are in Djibouti and Gabon, two countries that have not signaled any change in their stance on French military presence within their borders. However, French soldiers are also still in Senegal and the Ivory Coast. But the key difference is that these two countries have recently declared their intention to expel French forces. Djibouti and Gabon continuing French military presence. Djibouti, the country hosts the largest French military contingent in Africa, with approximately 1,500 troops. France's presence in the country was formalized with the Defense Cooperation Treaty signed in 2011. France operates 5 naval and air bases in Djibouti, leveraging the country's geostrategic location at the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which the Red Sea meets where the Red Sea meets the Gulf of Aden. This strait is one of the world's most critical maritime choke points, connecting the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean and serving as a vital artery for global trade.
So if we look at the map, we can see why this little place is a military powerhouse and why people would want to control it. And France is not the only one that has a military base on this place. So when these people start getting into these little countries, it's either for the resources or to have a strategic position against the rest of the world. Go ahead.
However, France is not alone in recognizing Djibouti's strategic value, as the country hosts at Burkina Faso.
At least,
Oh, I went to the wrong one.
should be page 2.
All right. Lease eight foreign military bases, including those of the U.S., China, and Japan. Djibouti is home to the only permanent U.S. military base in Africa and was chosen by China for its first overseas military installations. Gabon's France's military engagement in Gabon dates back to the country's independence in 1960, established under defense agreements signed that same year. Currently, there are about 350 French soldiers deployed in Gabon. Despite the historical ties, growing regional calls for autonomy and reduced foreign influence have placed this long-standing relationship under scrutiny. Gabon's defense agreements with France remain intact for now, but shifts in public opinion could challenge this arrangement. Ivory Coast and Senegal. French troops set for exit. Ivory Coast. On January 1st, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara announced that French troops will withdraw from the country this month. We can be proud of our army, whose modernization is effective. It is in this context that we have decided on the coordinated and organized withdrawal of French forces, he said in an address to the nation.
So what's happening here is these people are organizing. They kept destabilizing these countries for so long that now they're starting to realize, you know what, we don't need y'all. And this is the biggest fear that they've had. But it also shows that shift of what we're talking about. Every man in his own country, every man going back to his own land. So now they're going to have to figure it out. Go back to your land. So as these things are getting ready, we have to look at the scripture and say, hey, these things are aligning. So the redemption of the children of Israel is coming right behind all of this. Go ahead.
The 43rd Marine Infantry Battalion in Abidjan, Port Boyd, will be returned to Ivorian Force this month. Ouattara added, France has yet to confirm its handover plans and there is no official confirmed timeline. Currently, France has around 900 troops stationed in Ivory Coast, following the establishment of a military base in 2015, according to official data. Senegal first declared its intention to expel French forces in November last year. Then, in late December, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye announced that all foreign troops will leave Senegal starting 2025. I have instructed the Minister for the Armed Forces to purpose a new doctrine for cooperation in defense and security, involving, among other consequences, the end of all foreign military presence in Senegal from 2025, Faye said. As with the Ivory Coast, France has yet to confirm its plan to withdraw troops from Senegal, where it has had a military presence since 2011. According to the French Defense Ministry, France has around 350 soldiers deployed in Senegal. Known as the French elements of Senegal since 2011, which African countries have already expelled French troops. Until 2022, French forces were stationed in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, Djibouti, Gabon, Ivory Coast, and Senegal. However, growing anti-French sentiment, demands for greater national sovereignty, and shifting geopolitical dynamics have led to the desolation of several military agreements. The turning point came with the termination of Operation Barkhane, a large-scale counter-insurgency mission launched by France in 2014 to combat Islamic militants in Africa Sahel region. The mission, which officially ended in 2022, had been central to France's military strategy in the region. The operation conclusion prompted Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to sever defense ties with France, accusing it of failing to address security threats and interfering in domestic affairs. Macron first announced in June 2021 that French forces will start a phased exit from the Sahel. By August 2022, French troops were out of Mali, followed by a withdrawal from Burkina Faso in February 2023. In December 2023, the military government of Niger ordered the expulsion of French soldiers, and the last contingent left the country the very same month. In November 2024, Chad became another African nation to order the removal of French forces. France had approximately 1,000 troops stationed in Chad, primarily in the capital N'Djamena, which served as a critical logistic hub for Operation Barkhane. The withdrawal began last month and is expected to be completed by late January 2025.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 13. And as we can see on this side, the person that's running this country is also expelling people. I don't think he's been in there a good month yet, and he's rounding up people all throughout this country. A lot of people are upset, but they don't understand. Prophecy is being fulfilled. I don't care whether you like it or not. This thing has to go down. So we can join those who will say that it ain't fair, because I've heard some of my own people, I live in Norcross. I hope I don't get caught up in it. You don't get caught up in it at some point. We all got to go. All right, Isaiah chapter 13. Let's start at verse 1, please.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger. Even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustered the hosts of the battle. They came from a far country, from the end of the heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl you, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
So he says destroy the whole land, not the whole earth. Go ahead.
Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. There shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their lawlessness. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
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 And once again, we've gone over this. I'll make a man more precious than fine gold. And why is that? Because they're going to be hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be getting killed off like it's going out of style. Right now over in the land, their military consists of women. And our military, Yahweh's military, women don't join the military in that manner. Go ahead.
Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every man one into his own land.
So whether you want to go voluntarily or not, this is going to happen. So right now, the man in charge of this country is expelling some people. They might miss a whole lot of stuff that's yet to come and don't have to see it on this soil. And then we can see over there on the continent, those people are expelling the people who are not supposed to be in their country. So it's happening on both fronts. Go ahead.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravaged.
Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. This is where we now got to understand alliances and understand when it's time to separate. You got to understand when it's done, and look, hey man, it was real, but I got to go this way. Friend or no friend, it's time for us to depart. Because I'm not staying here and die with you. You know, it's that whole saying about, I got black friends and I got white friends. When the rubber hit the road, folks don't go to their own people.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to tell my son that many times. He want to go certain parts of town. I say, hey man, who you going with? Oh, me and so-and-so going. You mean the Caucasian guy? You going to the Caucasian side of town, which is prejudice? No, he's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be okay. And vice versa, when they come into this side of town, I say, bruh, who you bringing him? No. You going to cause problems for yourself on this side of town because you brought him. So we all think it's, yeah, I got white friends, yeah, I got black friends, but you need to know the line of where you take them white friends and where you take your black friends that's going to cause them problems and you problems. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
The Russians. Go ahead.
Which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
So guess what? You ain't going to be able to buy them.
Nope.
You're not going to be able to buy their friendship or their loyalty. Because we're talking about some stuff way back that these people have not forgotten. So when they come, they're coming with vengeance and anger and fierce wrath. We're the ones that's being told, forget the past. These people don't forget the past. Go ahead.
Their bows also shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency shall be as when Elohim overthrows Sodom and Gomorrah.
But why would he not overthrow this as Sodom and Gomorrah when the law of the land is Sodom and Gomorrah? Mm-hmm. So doesn't the punishment require the same thing? This has become Sodom and Gomorrah. It was put into effect. Go ahead.
It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there.
So you trying to tell me that even the animals gonna have their own vine and fig tree? They gonna get homes that they didn't build and enjoy homes that they didn't build? Because right now they're not getting any rest. We keep tearing down and putting up structures everywhere that the animals should be able to reside and enjoy a vine and a fig tree. So just as we gonna inhabit or inherit homes that we didn't build, animals gonna inherit homes that they didn't build on this side. Go ahead.
And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged.
And her time is near to come, and we can see it's coming quicker. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. That's Jeremiah chapter 50. And we're going to first begin with verses 1 through 8. Jeremiah 50, and we're going to start by reading verses 1 through 8.
The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare you among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken. Baal is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Our idols are confounded. Our images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, said Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Yehudah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahweh, their Elohim. They shall ask the way of Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
So when we were just over in Isaiah, it was saying that when you join on to certain people, you're going to perish. Mm-hmm. And now we see who we need to be joined on to. We need to be joined on to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant. Go ahead.
My people has been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountains to hill. They have forgotten their resting places. All that found them have devoured them. And the adversary said, We offend not, because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers.
And we can see that still happens to this day. We're being killed in the streets, and nobody cares. No matter how much crying and protesting goes on, it's not changing the hearts of the nations when it comes to us as a people. And then the biggest thing is that we're always hearing how, these African countries don't care. And then you start to get a glimpse that, wait a minute, there have been rulers of African countries who have tried to do stuff to help us in this country. But guess what? Still would be to no avail, because we're going to have to do 400 years. I don't care who wants to step up and try to help. No, Yahweh says 400 years. Go ahead.
Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the goats before the flock. For lo, I will raise and
That was
cause.
it, verse 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as he-goats before the flocks. That's another mindset that we're also going to have. That at some point in military movements, you're broken up into numbers. Who's going to be able to step up to say, I'm going to lead this flock? Are we ready to get out of Babylon? We're not all sitting in this room for no reason. Like Elder has said, we might not all end up in the same place because we might all have to lead our own group. So are you asking enough questions? Are you getting those questions, the ones that really need to be answered, asked, or you sitting there saying, nah, that's a stupid question? Because the flock that you leading ain't going to just come willingly.
Yep.
And they haven't been sitting in the seat that you've been sitting in. So let's remember the plight of Brother Moshe, Brother Yahshua. Understand, we dealing with stiff-necked people. We might be prepared, but everybody else ain't going to be prepared. So even the little isms and schisms that we deal with here, with the different trials and tribulations that we go through with people, as people come and go, should also be preparing that mindset for if you have to be the he-goat before the flock and be able to say, you know what, I've seen this before.
Come on. Yes, sir.
Let's deal with this swiftly. Let's go to Numbers jump to verse 16, my brother.
Verse 16. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land.
Now, let's meditate on that for a minute. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handles the sickle in the time of harvest. We're talking about food. Mm-hmm. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people. I keep saying, we're going to have to learn when that dividing line comes and realize, you know what, bruh, it's been real, but I need to be over here with my people. So at some point, it's going to become a blame game. This is your fault. No, this is their fault. And we've seen from past how it is if we seem to have any upper hand, then they come in and they want to wipe us out. The only way we're going to be able to survive this is with the favor of Yahweh. But how do we get the favor of Yahweh? We're going to have to be walking right. Because as we know, 2/3 of the children of Israel is going to get cut off. Not 2/3 of the world or 2/3 of the nations, 2/3 of the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the kings of Assyria has devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. Therefore, thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, and I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead.
All right, my brother, let's go to Numbers chapter 33. And I'll bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. Right now, we claim the whole continent of Africa because we have no clue where our habitation is. But what a glorious day this will be when we can be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. Numbers chapter 33, and we're going to read verses 50 through 56.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you are passed over Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and quick pluck down all their high places, and you shall dispose the inhabitants of the land, and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it. And you shall divide the land by lot for an inheritance among your families, and to the more you shall give the more inheritance, and to the fewer you shall give the less inheritance. Every man's inheritance shall be in the place where his lot falleth. According to the tribes of your fathers you shall inherit.
So he's saying divide the land, right? 1948, who was the only people been in the land? So the whole land that they're trying to capture from the river to the sea is just supposed to be for the Jewish? I thought it was 12 tribes. Where's the division for the other 11? Oh, what they say, don't go looking for any lost tribes? I don't see anything here where it said that Judah alone was going to control the whole land. Go ahead.
But if you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which you let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes, and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein you dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them.
So these were the instructions given going into the land the first time. We have to understand the great wickedness that have taken place over the centuries. We're going to have to deal with this again. We're going to have to pass through the land of Canaan again. But once we get into our land, we're going to have to get some things out of there. So are we preparing ourselves to understand what idols are and what idol worshiping is? What these things that we see before us? Because right now we've been given this thought process. Oh man, I don't care what you call him, it's the same God. We cannot go forth with that thought process. One Yahweh in his name one. Anything else got to get up out the land. Can you read that article there from a priest?
Burkina Faso is not an enemy of the French people, said Captain Ibrahim Traore, transitional president following a coup d'etat. In an interview broadcast Wednesday evening by Radio Television du Burkina, we are not enemies with the French people. It is the policy of those who run France, which poses a problem in Africa. So as long as a state is not in an perilous spirit, there is no problem, he said in this interview recorded on August 31st. We must agree to look at each other as equals, and we must agree to review all of our cooperation, he added. Without naming it, he criticized France for having given independence and placed people at the head of certain states.
So do you truly have independence if you've got an overseer watching me? Sounds like what happened when we were allowed to so-called now start keeping church. An overseer sat in the back making sure that, hey, you better not go in these certain books or talk about certain things. How do you tell me I'm independent, but you still got a leash on me? Or you put up an electric gate, but I'm independent. This is the thing they don't want to see. These countries are slowly taking back their lands. Now, the funny thing is, one of Macron's people was blaming him, saying that he the one that caused the Africans to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just time. I don't care how long you want to keep going on, eventually people get tired of being sick and tired. You want to control these people's resources and don't think that at some point somebody should say, nah, man, you don't belong here. You don't come from here. We even hear it here. All the people they're trying to dispel, nobody comes from here.
Right.
How are you in a position to say who should leave and who should stay? We all immigrants. We all aliens to this land. You trace back far enough, your people came from somewhere else to here. But just like the people in the land, you've been there so long that you actually really believe that that's your land. Go ahead.
According to him, we have led people to sign a lot of agreements which prevent us from developing, adding that imperialist states are not just France, they are others, he said without quoting them.
So when you go back, we have led people to sign a lot of agreements. He's basically talking about these agreements that's been entered into, that's locked that country in under these colonial forces, even though they have independence. You look at the state of Haiti. Haiti was being punished what? For helping New Orleans, Louisiana, get its independence. They helped Louisiana get their independence, but they're paying these same French people. A lot of people don't know that. Haiti cannot get up on its own feet because it is still paying France because it fought for its own independence. See, sometimes we want freedom so much that we'll sign papers and don't understand what we signed. Go ahead.
Captain Abraham Traore, who came to power almost a year ago through a coup d'etat, also questioned the effectiveness of the presence of French soldiers in Burkina Faso as part of the anti-jihadist fight, which he demanded the departure in January.
So basically it sounds like they said, we're going to help you fight these people, get up in your country, and now they don't want to leave. That's where we also go and have our own problems when people want to join on to our so-called causes, and then we realize that you're actually derailing the cause behind my back. You dig deep enough and you'll see how many French soldiers have killed these people off. Go ahead.
Burkina has since been seeking new cooperation. We have new partners who support us in terms of equipment and other things, he added, without naming them. Burkina Faso Minister of Foreign Affairs, Olivia Roamba, expressed her country's desire to strengthen bilateral cooperation with Iran on Monday during an interview in Tehran with President Abraham Raisi.
And we keep saying we see Ibrahim and Abraham. And these people look like you and I. And we would say Abraham. So here we go with two Abrahams. Go ahead.
A Russian delegation spoke with Mr. Traore last week in Ouagadougou. Brother, you might need to help me out with that one.
You did a good job. Go ahead.
On questions of development and military cooperation, and Captain Thrahor went to St. Petersburg in July for Russia-Africa summit. He reaffirmed his country's support for Niger, the theme of a coup d'etat on July 26, with which Burkina shares the so-called three borders area between Mali, Niger, and Burkina, considered a den of jihadist groups.
So he went to St. Petersburg in July for the Russia-Africa summit. And who it says won't tear this place apart? The Medes, the Russians? Okay. All right, so we see alignments happening with other people that look like us as they start dispelling people out of their country. So you understand when stuff goes down, how it probably might be more favorable for them to help fight for people that's over here who look like them. Knowing that some of them have already tried to lend a helping hand, but it's been slapped away. So you get enough powerful forces, let's go ahead and do this thing in. Let's force everybody back to where they need to be. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19. And we can also see there's also been a big push from those African countries trying to tell people of color here in this country, come on back. Opening up the borders, come on back. But that's been happening for a long time. It's nothing new. There's African countries that have been saying, hey, welcome to the Negroes. Come on back. Just wasn't time. But we can see that time is coming closer and closer and quicker. Leviticus chapter 19 and begin at verse 23, please.
And when you shall come into the land and shall have planted all manner of trees for food, then you shall count the fruit thereof as uncircumcised. 3 years shall it be as uncircumcised unto you, it shall not be eaten of. But in the 4th year all the fruit thereof shall be holy to praise Yahweh withal. And in the 5th year shall you eat of the fruit thereof, that it may yield unto you the increase thereof. I am Yahweh your Elohim. You shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall you use enchantment nor observe times.
So basically we're going over how we need to conduct ourselves when we get back in the land. We can't wait till we get there to understand how we're supposed to act in the land. These are things that we need to start going over. And like the priest said in his prayer, let's hope we retain these things. Go ahead.
You shall not wrong the corners of your heads, neither shall you mar the corners of your beard. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh.
And what a beautiful time like this to be giving back your own vine and fig tree when brothers have all grasped to the fact of not rounding the corners of their head and wearing their beards. Can you imagine if we had to get up out of here right now? All the hairy faces that would be on these ships. There'd be some pastors that would feel out of place. When you look around on a ship with nothing but beardy, line face looking brothers. The time is at hand. And what a beautiful sight it's going to be. Just look at the times that we're in. Even though our people are thinking that beard wearing is some new fad. But we've been tricked into being righteous to some extent. We've been tricked into walking in our culture. Go ahead.
Do not prostitute your daughter, to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh. regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am Yahweh your Elohim. You shall rise up before the hoary head, and honor the face of the old man, and fear your Elohim. I am Yahweh. And if a stranger sojourn with you in your land, you shall not vex him. But the stranger that dwell with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
And this kind of already comes natural to us, but let's just hope that we don't take indignation and vexation when we find out what has been done and make that cause us to become bitter. And then we start transgressing against these people. Because we know there's always been a few who have grabbed on to the whole of Israel and say, nah, I'm with y'all. And go through the disdain and the headaches right along with us. While other people say, they go to the neighborhood and get the hell on out. Go ahead.
I am Yahweh your Elohim. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, or in measure. Just balance, just weight, a just ephah, and a just hin shall you have. I am Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe all my statutes and all my judgment, and do them. I am Yahweh.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 32. Jeremiah chapter 32. We're going to begin at verse 36.
And now therefore thus said Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, concerning this city, whereof you say, it shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whither I have driven them in my anger, and in my fury, and in my great wrath. I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. And they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim.
Can we imagine dwelling safely? We know nothing about safety right now. And even if we feel we're safe, we still can't have peace of mind if we have children, because now we got to wonder if they're safe as they're out and about. But that time will come when we will not have to worry about that. Go ahead.
And I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, that they shall not depart from me. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly, with my whole heart and with my whole soul. For thus said Yahweh, like as I have brought all this great evil upon this people, so will I bring upon them all the good that I have promised them. And fields shall be bought in this land, whereof you say, it is desolate without man or beast. It is given into the hand of the Chaldeans. Men shall buy fields for money, and subscribe evidence, and seal them, and take witness in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem.
So men shall buy fields for money and subscribe evidence and seal them. That's title. Here's my deed and my title to the land. Go ahead.
And in the cities of Yehudah, and in the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the valley, and in the cities of the south, for I will cause their captivity to return, said Yahweh.
Hallelujah. Last piece of scripture for tonight. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7, and we're going to begin at verse 13.
Chapter 7. Verse 13. I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
Isn't that why we walk in this walk? To be considered saints? But to say the saints of the Most High will take the kingdom. Go ahead.
Then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devour, break in pieces, and stamp the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the saints of days came, and judgment was given to the saint of the Most High.
Until the Ancient of Days came. Go ahead.
And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall thread it down and break it in pieces.
So we can see nothing before its time, right? Even though earlier it says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. But there's a time, verse 22, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So all these things have to be fulfilled until that time. Go ahead.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it, unto the end. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cognition much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart.
So as we understand what we understand from reading the book and sitting in the place that we sit in, I'm sure that this has troubled a lot of us. But it's for a period in time. And it says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever. Now, even with coming down to taking the kingdom, we're going to have another frame of mind. We're going to have to understand that and accept that it's ours and fight like it's ours. We have a saying, beat him like he stole something. That's how we're going to have to get in there and fight. Beat them like they stole something. Without that mindset, you ain't going to have the kingdom. It was stolen. But as the time comes, we're going to have to do several different mind shifts. We're going to have to do a mind shift of getting thrust up out of here. It's going to have to be a mind shift on the seas and on the waves. There's going to be another mind shift when we get into the secret place and purging takes place. So we can see that if we get stuck in one frame of mind, we can also get purged out. But the big picture and the big goal is every man under his own vine and fig tree. Let's stay focused, Israel. That's all we're going to do for this evening. Shalom.
Shalom.